Hi, guys, and welcome to our fifth module of the Ethical Branding Academy. I cannot believe we have been together for 5 months already, and I hope that you have gotten a lot from this and that you've been able to apply some of the modules to your business and your life. And we always welcome feedback if there is anything that you feel like you are looking to learn that you have not yet. So, our topic this month, I really wanted to cover because I know for a lot of us, it might feel slow right now while a lot of people are vacationing and going places for the summer, but we are about to hit busy season for retail and any kind of brands, and that is fall holiday. And so today I wanted to talk about creating a marketing plan so that you have a strategy in place and can have a stress-free and a successful holiday season. And I know that it's August and it's crazy we're talking about holiday, but it's better to be prepared and it'll be here before you know it. So I'm going to follow the last format of video that I did where I'm just free speaking instead of reading from a script. I feel like it allowed me to explain things a little more in depth. So I hope that you enjoyed it. And let's get started in creating a marketing plan. We will go over a few different things in this course. First, looking at a SWOT analysis and competitive analysis, the core marketing values, which we will dive a little bit further into. Most of our modules already have actually covered a lot of these, which is why I felt like creating a marketing plan was perfect because you've kind of learned some of the tools already. We'll talk about social, content, website, and putting together an action plan. Competitive and SWOT analysis. So, in any task that you're performing for your business, it's really important to begin with an objective. You want to clearly state why you are doing what you are doing so that you have sort of a vision to look to. I always like to say you have that one thing to refer back to in your head when you're planning content, when you're thinking of strategy, when you're talking to people and networking. That one objective is what you are always referring back to. So, what is the purpose of this plan? What is the purpose of marketing in general? Is it to increase your sales? Is it to increase your brand awareness? Maybe to have a more loyal community? Those are all great objectives, and I encourage you to create one that is very specific to your brand and your goals so that it is there to encourage you and give you something to look back on. So let's talk about SWOT analysis. If you didn't study marketing, this may be something very new to you. If you did study marketing, you know that this is like marketing 101 in high school and college. SWOT analysis is the way that you're going to examine yourself in relation to your competitors. In order to do this, you really have to take almost an objective look where you can say, all right, I know that I might have some weaknesses where my competitors might have some strengths. And the SWOT analysis just really gives you that helicopter look, I like to say, because you're kind of in the air looking at all of not only your own brand, but other brands and able to see where you may need to get a little stronger on things or where there are some threats that you need to be prepared for. And so SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So if you want to start with strengths, here is where you would make an honest list of where you feel that your brand is strong, whether you have invested a lot of time in your production and your manufacturing, or maybe you feel like you've invested a lot of time in creating really great marketing. The next is your weaknesses. These may be the spots where you feel like you don't really know a lot about or you don't have much experience in compared to other brands. And it's okay to admit that. Everybody has their strengths, everybody has their weaknesses, and putting them down on paper is what's going to help you to fill in those gaps. The next is opportunities. So, where do you see almost opportunities for growth? Whether it's networking, collaborations, content opportunities, just things that, like I said, will fill in that gap where you feel like you may be lacking or where you may feel like give you a leg up against the competition. Lastly is threats. So for me, the difference between weakness and threats is weaknesses is something that you maybe just don't know well, whereas a threat is something that you are aware of and therefore could probably change or prevent from taking place. So, for example, if you know that a huge brand is launching, a new line of all organic cotton t-shirts, you may want to avoid launching that same kind of collection during that same time because you're aware of that threat and you can prepare for it. So again, sit down and do this as objectively as possible. Be completely honest, because the more honest you are with yourself, the more it's going to help inform your strategy and help you to move forward. It can even be really helpful to have a friend sit down with you and do it with you, or a family member, or someone who knows the industry enough to say, hey, I love you, but I really think that this is a weakness of yours. Or, I know the industry and I really think that this one thing could be a potential threat to you. Or, hey, maybe this could be a great opportunity. So just having that extra pair of eyes could be really helpful in performing this part of your plan. So let's talk about your core marketing values. And these are pretty much the basics of every marketing plan. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we have kind of gone through the majority of these things in previous modules because I really wanted you to have a foundation when it comes to each marketing value. And so in this module, we're not going to dive super deep into PR because I kind of feel like you are already equipped with what you need to come up with your PR plan. And you can apply kind of the monthly checklists and things like that we're going to talk about here to your PR. So we're really going to dive deep into social media, blogging, and emails, and then how to put everything together in one plan. When it comes to social media, I am a huge data nerd. I think analytics are a godsend and really inform your strategy because you're able to look at what's working, what's not working, what you would like to be doing better. And then you can really, again, fill in those gaps and figure out how you can improve that data. If you're a new brand and you don't really have that data to go off of, there is some great base research online as far as the best posting times throughout the day, and things like that. I think we did talk about them in our social media module. Usually, either lunchtime or after work is the best time to post if you are new to social media. But otherwise, you want to use your own data to inform your strategy. So, some of the things that you want to research, which again, we talked about this in your social media module. So please refer back to that if you are feeling confused or feeling like you don't know how to research a certain topic. We have already talked about this, and I wanted to make sure that you had that to go off of. So things that you want to include are your peak posting times. So we talked about where to find this in your analytics, and posting at those times. Your hashtags, which again, we went through how to research the best hashtags for your brand. Content buckets, which we talked about. Content buckets is probably going to be one of the most important when it comes to your marketing plan because once you have those 6 different types of content, you can easily refer back to those topics when it comes time to put your plan together, to decide what you're posting, and to execute everything. I believe we also talked about creating your bio using, search keywords and things like that. So that's another thing that you want to research and be putting into your marketing plan. Go with what works. So you want to combine your data, so everything that you've already gathered in your research, with potential tools or maybe strategies that we have discussed in our courses to determine your exact strategy. So, for example, some things that we've talked about are starting a Facebook group, starting a group Pinterest board, doing monthly Instagram and Facebook lives. You could do try on hauls. There's a lot of things that we have talked about that you could test to see what works and what doesn't work. And again, if you're starting from scratch, employ these strategies little by little and then use the data to tell you if you should continue. So if you start producing an Instagram, an IGTV every few weeks and you're seeing that it performs really well, you want to keep doing that. If you kind of see that maybe it might be a waste of time or it's not converting the way that you want it to, then you know to try something new. Next, you're going to put together your content goals. So at this point, you have researched all the background of when to post, what to post, how to optimize your posts. You've also kind of gathered your knowledge of what strategies to try best to see what performs best. And so now you have the background research, you have the things that you want to do. And all you need to do is put together a checklist of goals. And these should be realistic expectations of what social media content that you need to be creating for each month for the maximum impact. So, some examples, you've researched your social media posting times, you've researched your hashtags, you've researched, okay, maybe IGTV works well, maybe Instagram Lives works well. That's what you put on your checklist to have your daily Instagram posts, to have your 3 weekly Instagram stories. If it's Pinterest, to have your Pinterest queue constantly filled monthly. And these checklists are what is going to really, really be the guide for you to make sure that your marketing tasks are getting done every month so that you are reaching those goals. You have probably heard me say this at least 20 times by now, but we're going to talk about the importance of original shareable content. It is the most important part of marketing for multiple reasons. It gives you social media content, it gives you email content, you're bringing something new to the internet. It allows SEO on your website if you're writing blog posts for people to search things and find you. And there's so much more that you can do with original shareable content. Now, one form of that is blog posts. The idea of blog posts scares so many people, and it's the number one thing I hear from brand owners is, oh, I know I need to be writing blog posts, but I just don't have time, or it's just so much, or I don't know where to start. In reality, if you write 2 blog posts a month, you're golden. And that might even sound like a lot to you, but I promise if you make a list of all the blog posts that you want to write but haven't gotten to, you will easily be able to write 2 a month. And if you write 2 blog posts per month, you can turn that into 4 or more Instagram posts. The way I factor that is you would do 1 Instagram post to lead them to the blog. You can do 2 Instagram posts that might be a quote from the blog, a fact from the blog, a tip from the blog. And then you can do another one again. Hey, make sure you don't miss this blog post. And there you have 4, 5, maybe even 6 Instagram posts from that. The same goes for Instagram stories. There are 4+ Instagram stories you can make out of that 1 blog post. So, really, you should double that number because 1 blog post will give you 4 Instagram posts. Next, you can create it into 2 emails or more, and so much more. Some ideas if you're kind of feeling lost about where to start with writing blog posts. Behind the scenes make for great blog posts, whether that's behind the scenes a new collection, introducing people on your team, meet the makers, meet your artisans. How to's are really good. So, how to style something, how to, make a clean beauty product, a clean home cleaning product, a blog post sharing new products, season specific products, whether that's gift guides or fun things to travel with for the summer, and how to style your products. I mean, there are really endless possibilities when it comes to blog posts. And I promise you, taking the time to sit down to write those 2 posts a month is going to make your social media calendar and your email newsletter planning so much easier. Next is emails. So here I want to make sure that if you didn't get a chance to watch the emails that convert, please go back and watch it because that's really going to be the basis for you learning what to create when it comes to emails and how to strategize them. The same rule that we discuss With the blog post applies to the emails. You really only need 2 emails per month because you don't want to overwhelm your audience. You don't want them to feel like, oh, I'm getting an email from that brand again. It's just another email in my inbox to delete. If you're only emailing them every 2 weeks or once a month, they're going to be excited. Like, oh, I haven't heard from them in a while, or this is really good content. I'm excited to read it. The next thing, like I said earlier, is to pay close attention to the 80-20 rule when you're creating your email. So 80% of your email should be fun, engaging content, which can really follow along the lines of those blog topics, whether it's a how to, a behind the scenes, anything like that. Make sure that it's engaging content, at least 80% of your email. And then 20% can be sales. Because you don't want to be all sales, all pushing product. You really want to provide value to them so that they are excited and engaged with what you're doing. So now that we've talked about the core marketing values, let's create your action plan. We have talked about checklists. So with social media, we said once you do your research and you have in mind the things that you would like to carry out, to make a checklist that you can follow every month, whether that's making your daily Instagram post, daily Instagram stories, researching new hashtags once a month, whatever you feel that you need to do in order to get the most out of that social media platform. Make a checklist that you can carry out every single month. So make that for Instagram, make it for Facebook, make it for Pinterest. If you still use Twitter, go ahead and make a list for that too. And the same thing goes for blog posts, emails, PR. Make a checklist that in your mind, okay, if I did these 4 or 5 things every month, I would be golden. My marketing would be, on par with everything that I've ever dreamed of, but have been putting aside. Checklists are what is going to keep you accountable. And I promise you, when you have this plan written out, when you have your posting times, your hashtags, your content buckets right in front of your face, and you have that checklist right under it, there's nothing stopping you from creating content because you have everything you need right there. So, how do we put these checklists onto a marketing calendar that we can feel month after month we're carrying something out in an effective way? We do this on our live content planning calls. If you've missed it, we do the replay. But I really want to encourage you guys to try and join them. If you need me to change the time, let me know. But it's just great value to you guys to be able to sit together, bounce ideas off each other, and have someone to hold you accountable to actually doing this. So please, again, I encourage you to please make time in your schedule to join our live content planning. We walk through this process together. So this is nothing new. This is something I do myself. It's something I've done from the beginning, and it's what works best for myself and my clients when we're planning. So what I want you to do is grab a calendar, and on that calendar, so you can start with 1 month if you'd like. For the month of August, write down your launches, your sales, holidays, events, any big thing that you have coming up, because all of your content should be pointing people to that. If you're having an end of summer sale at the end of August, you should spend the last 2 weeks of August getting people excited and ready and anxious for that to start so that you have your people ready to go. Same thing, if you have Labor Day sale coming up, you want to prepare them so that whether they're saving money to invest in your brand, or they're putting it on their calendar, or they're not buying that one thing because they think you might have something better at your sale. So once you have all of those things on your calendar, it makes it really easy for you to say, okay, well, for social media, I should probably be doing like 3 to 4 posts about that sale. And before you know it, your whole calendar is full because all of your posts have a purpose. They are leading people to what's important, whether that's a sale, a blog post, a collaboration, anything like that. All of your posts will have a purpose, and they will have a strategy behind them because you've done the research, you've put together your checklist, you've created the content that leads your audiences to the content you want them to connect with. The last thing and the most important part of a marketing plan is to commit to creating the content. I am guilty myself of putting it on the back burner, saying it'll get done later. But if you take one day a month, say Fridays for 4 hours, I'm going to spend checking off all of my checklists, creating all of my content, and getting it all scheduled so that for one whole month, I don't have to worry if something's going to be posted on social media. I don't have to go back and scramble to create an email or a blog post. Everything will already be done for you because you committed to taking those 3 to 4 hours once a month and getting it done. Once again, please carve out the time to join our live content planning on Friday, August 16th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you have a conflict with this time, please let me know. Like I said, I'm very open to changing it to make sure that the most amount of people can come. We will pretty much go through the whole calendar process of this marketing plan. And so I think, if you make your checklist and you're feeling a little overwhelmed with the amount of things that you have on your checklist, the live content planning session will really help you to map it all out and put a plan in place and commit to creating the content.